Ladies and gentlemen, шановні пані та панове, українська громада, dear friends, dear fellow ambassadors, colleagues, thank you so much for coming today. This is a very important day for the Ukrainian community here in Kuwait, as well as for the Ukrainian people all over the world. Today, Ukraine is commemorating 90 years of the famine, which was arranged by the Stalin regime in 1932. In fact, there were a number of famines, 1922, 1932, 1940. But the most devastating was 1932, where we had 1/3 of Ukrainian population starved to death. And by saying 1/3, I'm saying about 10 to 12 million people. Right now, Ukraine is facing aggression from the Russian Federation, and we see how many people die, how many people get killed, how people pass away, how people starve right now in many cities. But still, that amount that we have by thousands now, we cannot even compare to millions that we have back in 1932, 19 years from now. And we thought that it is very important for us to commemorate this very specific date today without procrastinating, without delaying it to any other day. Exactly today, the 26th of November, we commemorate 90 years of the famine. As you have noticed, we have our flag half-mast today, and if you would allow me, I would offer you to support us in 1 minute of silence, commemorating the victims of the famine. Very important for me to speak today, since you know I always greet all our friends and colleagues with a smile, and it is difficult today to try to pretend that it is a very nice, normal day. It is a very difficult day for all our people back home, and I believe for 100% that each of us of the Ukrainian citizenship, they would have someone in the family who would share the story, the painful story of people who were starved to death. Me, myself, I always remember my grandma who was telling me how difficult it was when she was 10 years old back in 1932, when he and her family and her sisters were fighting for a piece of leaf, a piece of grass that they would find somewhere in the garden, because there would be something that would make it as a soup, that would get the trees cover, and they would take these leaves and grass and put it in the water and boil it on the fire in order to have something to drink. And so many of family members starved to death, and it was something which she would always emphasize, that she would always ask me, given her blessing, she would say, I wish you would never feel the hunger, I will never feel famine, and you would never have war. And it seemed that 90 years after that, we do have famine, we do have hunger, we do have war. And probably this would be the last time for us, for our nation, to stick together for this battle, to finalize it so we don't have it, because as it seems, there is always one actor who is doing this. 90 years ago, 50 years ago, 30 years ago, 276 days ago. It's always about Russian Federation. It cannot live happily, it can only steal, it can only kill, it can only do bad things. They are not happy for who they are, but we are proud of who we are. One of the things which I wanted to share with you, it was a wonderful saying by Kofi Annan, who would say, genocide begins with the killing of one man, not for what he has done, but because of who he is. And we had one of the books which would, we were killed because we are Ukrainians. This was a genocide, and many countries right now, yesterday it was Romania, before a day it was Pope Francis who acknowledged that the genocide, the famine of Ukrainian nation was actually the genocide of Ukrainian population, of Ukrainian nation. And that's what our government is fighting for, to ask lots of governments and communities to pay specific attention that famine was an organized, arranged regime by Stalin regime, killing approximately 12 million people. And that's what we want to bring to the attention of the governments nowadays. We, being a food security guarantor, a food security contributor as a country, we used to be a nickname of Ukraine as a bread basket of Europe, and we would always deliver. And even during those 1932, we have lots of harvest, We had everything, but because it was taken, because it was artificially withdrawn from us, and people were not allowed to actually move, they would take everything from people, and they would not allow people to move to other cities. That's why it was really devastating for city people, because the soil is producing, but you do not have anything to eat. So now Ukraine being the contributor, food security contributor, we already, because of the grain initiative that we had, we already dispatched around 11 million tons of grains to 43 countries. And the recent initiative by the government of Ukraine, the president of Ukraine, which is called the Grain from Ukraine Humanitarian Initiative, we are thinking of dispatching up to summer of 2023. We want to give grain up to 5 million people all over the world. Saying that, we calculated that from the 26th of November, which is today, we will be dispatching up to 10 ships per month with 25,000 tons each ship, and it will be delivered to the most needy countries, to the most poor countries, so that they would not have to face what Ukrainians had to face one time. We addressed to lots of governments all over the world if should they want to become donors. For example, if we address the state of Kuwait, if Kuwait would wish to pay for the freight or for the grain, for the ship, so that we can actually have it and send it, let's put it to Yemen, for example, so that we would announce that today Kuwait purchased the grain and sent it to Yemen. Today we have the summit back in Kiev. The president of Ukraine is holding it together with the government, where they would be having lots of guests with physical presence, especially from the neighboring countries, as well as up to 25 participants online, where we would have a number of commitments made. I believe one of the countries of the GCC would also participate in that initiative. I don't want to jump to conclusions before it started, but what I know from my colleagues, one of the countries would participate in that initiative, would buy something to help us as a producer and to help the poor country as well, which is very important. And we addressed the government of Kuwait with that initiative, and I know, and this is what I'm saying to my Ukrainian fellows, the ambassadors who had found time today and the investment of their time, and today they are supporting me here, our initiatives. If I cannot do as much as I wish, my ambassadors fellows, my friends would run at all the levels, starting from the Crown Prince and the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, to deliver what we're talking about. Each of the ambassadors who is present today, and those who are not physically with us, but with heart, they are doing everything possible for me to acknowledge that this is important. As you have noticed, within the last months, there was a drastic change of the public stance of Kuwait. We have already two resolutions at the United Nations General Assembly that they voted in favor, together with Qatar, in regards of reparations and in regards of the human rights in the occupied territories, temporarily occupied territories. And this is a very nice shift, very important for us to understand. I believe that the diplomats who are here, they are doing it as much as we need, and I'm asking them. And all the diplomats here, you would know that I'm asking all of you every time I see, and I'm probably the one who is bothering you all the time, but I really need your support. And I'm thankful for you for coming today during the weekend to spend some time with us, so that the nationals of Ukraine would understand to who shall we be thankful for. And of course, our nationals who do the posting, the social media, who support us, who come today. This is important for us to understand that we are not alone, that we have our support all over the world. All the countries in the world, they would support us because they know it is important, it is fair for us to be. We're fighting for freedom, we're fighting for our dignity, we're fighting for our responsible living. We live by giving. It has always been that. We have never tried to take somebody's land or somebody's life. We only want to protect, peaceful-wise, producing-wise, farming-wise, intelligent-wise. We are giving in this world. And this time we're asking other countries and other governments to give something to us so that we can have it at the time of need. This is the battle that we're fighting. I believe this is the final one, because this will be either us or them. And I believe everybody understands that. Whoever is thinking of any talks, of any peaceful resolutions, of any argument saying that it is time for talk, no. This will be victory, final, at the battlefield. Once the victory is secured, then we will sit and see how they would surrender. And then they will see, with the presence of our diplomats, and see the guarantees on what can we do in order not to have it in the future. because we know that if we don't put a stop to this, they will come back again and again. The history showed us that this never stops unless the bullet gets into the face, into the teeth, and until he is punished. We will be looking for the Nuremberg process too, in order to see that those who violate the law, they should be punished. Once they're punished, they will think twice, 3 times, 100 times, in order not to do it in the future. By saying this, I would like to emphasize one more time that I could not do anything without you guys, diplomats, without my fellow ambassadors. I would not be able to do it here because I would not have your support. You know that I speak with my ambassadors, Ukrainian ambassadors in the Gulf region, in other Arab countries. They don't have the support that I have here, I swear. They don't have that attention, that support, that activeness, that involvement, that investment of meetings that you spend on my behalf. So thank you so much, each of you who have shown your stance, who have come today, who is really running every day on Ukrainian agenda, and thank you so much. God bless your families, God bless your people, so that they would never have the same feeling of despair that we might have. But I wish all of your countries to have as much resilience, as much strength in order to become strong in the future. Thank you very much, our diplomats. Thank you very much, our nationals. Thank you very much, fellow Ukrainians. Slava Ukraini!